Greetings and welcome to Monster Legends, and another special feeding episode. This time we're going to be feeding a little lady that I got from the last race. Got her ranked up once, and this is Mirak. And Mirak, of course, is mechanical, female, and she's a superhero. She's also in a limited time book. She also showed up with a lot of open ruin slots, and of course she's a legendary and she's metal. Now I hear that she is kind of denially supporty. I haven't seen any of her skills, but we're going to take a look at them right now. So let's just find a spot for her, and that is pretty much where I wanted her to be. All right, you can hang out with these two over here. Okay, that looked like it was going to be like a supporty thing, since she was doing it to her own team. All right, let's see what she's got. All right, so where is she? There's she. Okay, I didn't want that. Where is she? Okay, this is Skipper? Okay, that's kind of bizarre, but I have no intention of keeping Skipper. No, I don't. So, this is Mirak. She is a legendary. She is metal. She's hardened, so she's got a 20% chance to resist negative status effects. She also applies a random protection to all allies at the beginning of the battle. Ooh, that sounds interesting. All right, let's check out her stats. Her strength isn't really too terrific, but then again, you know, that's not her thing. Her life is pretty good. She's a little bit tanky there. Her speed is really good, though. So that's going to be very useful if she is kind of a denialish, supporty type of individual. All right, that's very good. Let's look at the initial skills we have here. All right, we have I, Robot. Deals low physical damage to one enemy, and then Proud Robot. I guess both of those are kind of the same. You know, I, Robot, Proud Robot. She's proud of being a robot. Deals moderate metal damage to one enemy. And of course, that very interesting special skill, I'm guessing it's supporty for the group. Let's see. Brave New World. Removes all negative stats effects from all enemies, applies immunity to control, immunity to tortures, and positive effects protection to all allies. Okay, so those can't be removed. All right, definitely supporty. It's not going to change the fight. Let's just say that. It's definitely kind of interesting, but it's not going to change the fight. But again, it is very, very supporty, and that's what it's all about, right? With the battlefield getting tougher and tougher, all monsters strive for excellence. But there are two characters in particular who have made it their goal to rule all fights. Ingenica and Hackster have joined forces in a secret research lab to create an unstoppable artificial intelligent being, Mirak. Okay, so with those two working on this is probably going to be quite scary. But she's working for us! She's working for us, and she's got lots of open ruin slots. So let's get to feeding. She's mechanical, so obviously she eats tomatoes. So let's get her up to 4 for her final form. And there she is. They must be proud of their little child. All right, well, let's start seeing the skills because I want to see some skills. All right, so let's get to level 7. Dream of the Electronic Sheep. Deactivates all cooldowns from itself. Okay, that's interesting. Definitely useful, but it'd be nice to have some skills to deactivate first, you know, the cooldowns for. All right, so let's continue to level 10. Future Bender. Removes all negative status effects from one ally. Applies 2 random positive status effects to one ally. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting indeed. So let's continue to level 15. Another skill. Calculated. Applies 2 random torture skills to one enemy. So she does 2 good things for an ally and 2 bad things for an enemy. Sounds right. Why don't we just throw it there for now? Obviously, we're not going to keep that. We're hoping for a nice version of that. All right, so let's continue to level 20. I Have No Mouth. Deals moderate metal damage to one enemy, applies a random control skill, and metal weakness to one enemy. Now, if we can just get that in a group version, I'm going to put it up there for a moment, hoping that someday it has a group version. All right, so let's keep going to level 25. Another skill. Microbe Obliterator removes all negative status effects from all allies, applies a random positive effect to one ally. All right, so I'm guessing that you would target one ally to get the random positive effect, and then you'd also remove negative status effects from all allies. All right. This one does 2 positive, but I like this one better because it does the negative status effects away from everybody. So why don't we just take that for now. All right, so let's continue to level 30. Go Robot. Removes positive status effects from one enemy, applies nanovirus and total blind to one enemy. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Random torture effects. Deactivate cooldowns from itself. I have to assume there's going to be something better than that coming along. Maybe something group-wide. So I'm actually, this one's probably the upgrade here. No, that's actually different. Why don't we just put this one here for now? I may have to arrange things in the end, right? All right, so let's continue to level 35 and another skill. I Must Scream. Deals moderate metal damage to all enemies. Applies random control skill and metal weakness to all enemies. Yeah, this is the one I was hoping there would be a group version of. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. It's a group version of it. It's going to give a random control skill and metal weakness. Kind of useful, especially if there is a heavy-hitting metal individual in your group behind you, right? All right, why don't we just throw that up there? Okay, and let's continue. Should have like 2 more left, I'm guessing. So let's see. Deep Thought. Removes positive status effects from all enemies. Applies nanovirus and total blind to all enemies. All right, in other words, we have a group version of that. And that's a good thing. However, I think I'm going to put it here. I'd like to keep them together. All right. I may want to keep that one that I just got rid of, but I guess it's going to depend on the final skill. There should be one more. We didn't get any repeats though, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I have no mount. Just in case, do I want that one or do I want that one? That's a good question. But this one, I have no mouth, actually does damage though. All right, I'm keeping this one for now because that's good support. But here's the question, which of these do I want? This is a random control skill. You know what? I think the random control skill is just probably better. Although, total blind. That's a good question. But the thing is, this one actually does do damage. That's a really good question. I mean, this one does damage, random control skill, and metal weakness. But they probably already have metal weakness on them already, right? This one over here removes positive status effects. Nanovirus, which is going to prevent positive, I think that prevents the addition of positive status effects, but it's also going to give total blindness. And I don't think there's a cooldown on blindness. All right, so I'm going to keep Go Robot. All right, I think there should be one more. I hope I'm not wrong about that. The First Law applies immunity to control and immunity to tortures to all allies. Well, obviously we have to keep that one, right? That is a good question right there. Do I want to remove negative status effects? You know what? Control and torture effects are kind of the most devastating of the negative status effects. So I think I'm going to keep that one, the new one. I may have to reconsider one of the ones in the middle, though. All right, I do believe, however, we are done. And we're just going to get these back here. And 5 more, we'll get to 60. And yeah, I mean, that's good, but I mean, I think I'd rather have the other one. That just, okay, you're just immune to torture effects and you're immune to control effects. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, that's a lot of the negative status effects you'd be removing anyway, right? So why not just get there ahead of it, right? Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So let's check out her final stats here. Strength, like I said, nothing to write home about, but I mean, she's not a damage dealer. She doesn't have anything actually that does anything other than low moderate damage here, right? I mean, actually, I picked 3 skills that do no damage at all. This one here does a little bit of damage, but I mean, that's not what she, so it doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter at all. Her life is very good. At 13,000, on 10,000 it's around the medium right there. So she's she's not frail. That's good stuff she's made of right there. And the speed is pretty good. Speed's pretty good. With lots of open rune slots here, gonna make her going fast. Gonna have her going very, very fast. All right, so why don't we just go back to skills. I'm just gonna make sure that I didn't miss anything and then take a quick look here to see if there is something I want better. Now, I'm not parting with that one, right? What about this one? Removes positive status effects from all. Yeah, that's another one. Not parting with that one at all. No, that's a really good group one right there. Total blind thrown in and everything. Now, here's the thing. They do have nanovirus on there. That's something I had forgotten about. I mean, strategically, this could be useful. 3-round cooldown. I mean, like I said, there's no cooldown on total blind. So you can just do that to somebody over and over again. And it's good to have another remove positive status effects available. All right, what do we got? 2 round? That's a 3-round cooldown. That's a 3-round cooldown. That's a 2-round cooldown. This one also is a 2-round cooldown. What else do we have? There was this one. I mean, it really depends on what do you want to do. You want to do more control or more denial. The Go Robot is kind of denialish because of the total blind. Of course, a random control skill could be a problem, though, because if you tried to stun somebody who's stunned, but total blind is just, they'd have to be immune to blindness, that kind of thing. And besides, then you're putting nanovirus on there, too. And let me see, deactivates all cooldowns on itself. I don't know about that one. That could be useful, though. Because the thing about it is, like I just mentioned, these guys here, I would be able to just take one turn of resetting my cooldowns and then just go back up here and do this one again. I mean, instead of doing this, I could just do this again. Of course, it'd be better if I had an extra turn, but then again, that'd be extremely overpowered and it wouldn't have a 0 cooldown, right? This was just a lower version of the one we did in 1. I mean, that's kind of interesting right there. 2 random torture effects. It's too bad there wasn't a group version of that one. That would be hard to say no to, right? There's the question. I might reconsider this. I might consider putting that in, for this one. I guess I'd have to play with it a bit. All right, so for now, I'm going to stay with what I have, but I'm strongly considering this one just because it will let me get back to the group versions really quickly. All right, so like I said, we looked at her stats. The strength, not too great. Life, very good. Speed, very, very good. So she's going to be fast. She's going to be hard to kill. She's not going to hit very hard. But like I said, I only have 1 damaging command there. All right, so let's look at some skills. Let's look at the final skills. These are the skills that I selected. I'm still on the fence regarding one of them. All right, let's start with this one. I Must Scream. Deals moderate metal damage to all enemies. Applies a random torture skill and metal weakness to all enemies. Requires cooldown. Now, obviously, the damage is not going to be too great. This is all about the random skill and the metal weakness. Now, she's not going to be able to take care of the metal weakness part. This is the only damaging skill I have for her that I selected. And even for the ones that I left behind, there was nothing that she was going to end the fight with. So the metal weakness is for another team member. If she's with like Coyote or Uther, someone who's going to do massive metal damage, that's going to be really great for them, right? But the big thing for her is the random control skill. Now, like I mentioned, she very well might try to stun somebody who's immune to stun, which would be a problem. So the randomness there could end up being a problem. So we have to see that, but still, that's a really good skill. Then we have this one, Deep Thought. Removes positive status effects from all enemies, applies nanovirus, and total blind. Now this one, there's no ambiguity. You might, in some cases, may want to start with this one, only you'd be kind of wasting the remove positive status effects. See, that's very useful. That'll get rid of shielding. It'll get rid of like regeneration or a taunt or something like that. Very, very useful indeed. Assuming, of course, it's not a trait, that is, right? This will also apply nanovirus. I believe nanovirus will block new positive status effects on the creatures while it's going. And of course, it's a torture effect, so it'll do damage. Total blind means if somebody has total blind, they will miss. The only way they're not going to miss is if the target has guard down. That is the only way they will not miss. So that is very, very useful. And like I said, there's no cooldown on that one. So you can just use that one and then come back with another one if you want, because she does have another skill that can do that. So very, very useful indeed. This one in some ways is better denial than the first one because you know what you're getting. As long as they're not immune to blindness, you're all set. And then we have this one, and this is the one I'm on the fence with. We have Go Robot. Removes positive status effects from one enemy, applies nanovirus and total blind to one enemy. Yeah, this is the single target version of the previous one. Once again, it does no damage, but it does do the same thing as the other one does. Actually, exactly the same thing. It just does it to one individual. So, I mean, you could always just pick one person out for this. Now, like I said, I'm on the fence regarding this or the one that deactivates her own cooldowns. So the first two are 3-round cooldowns. So you're going to have to wait 4 turns before doing them. Unless, of course, you deactivate your cooldowns, in which case she goes so fast, you get her going really fast, she can get back to doing those first 2 again really quickly. That really sounds like better and better the more I say it in my head. So I might end up doing that. Then we have this one, our final one here. The First Law. Applies immunity to control and immunity to tortures to all allies. This is a really good one. There have been ones that do one or the other, and they're very good. This one does both. So, immune to torture means that if your character has that, no possession, no stunning, no freezing, no nothing like that. Won't block blindness, because that's not considered to be a control effect, but anything that stops your character from acting, freezing, anything like that, they will be immune to it. Very good. And just for giggles, we're going to throw in immune to torture for 3 turns, which means burning won't work, the nanovirus won't work, any of those won't work. None of them ignite, anything. None of them are going to work. That is a really good skill right there. That's great support. Great support indeed. So you really have to pick your situation in terms of what you want her to do first. You could just start the fight with this. If you see somebody on the other side of the battlefield has got like someone who's going to use possession, well, just do this and no possession is going to work. So, I mean, you could be proactive or defensive if you want. If she's the first one to go, do you want to go for the random skill? Do you want to go for the total blind? Or you just want to protect your party from anything the other guys are going to do other than direct damage? That could be very, very useful in a lot of situations. And like I said, there's a lot of justifications for leading the fight with that. So she is very, very interesting and very, very good. And of course, let's not forget the random protection to all allies at the start of the fight. I'm very interested to see what that is. Is that like a protection from possession? Is that we're going to put a shield on you? We're going to put regeneration on you? I can't wait to see her in action so we can see what that actually means. Now, in terms of runes, of which, of course, I have 3 open, yeah, just speed right across the board. Because you want her going as quickly as possible, especially, which I am strongly considering, putting the deactivation of her own cooldowns in there, taking that skill, meaning she can just use the first group ones a bunch of times or be able to keep that protection up for her party. So you want her going as much as possible. So yeah, I'm probably going to find out what kind of speeds I can give her, but she's definitely kind of interesting. I don't know if she's going to end up replacing Patient Cyber for me in terms of my primary metal denial. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see about that. Do you want all your stuff piled on 2 guys, or do you pick one and you do it that way? I don't know. We're going to have to see the way that works out. Anyway, this is Mirak, and she is really very good, very interesting. A lot of unique things in there, and I'm really interested to see how that trait's going to work once we get into battle. So anyway, thank you very much for your attention. I really appreciate it, and play games because games are fun. See you.